I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right, good evening. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host, Manning's Man. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm glad that you're here with me. I know we were scheduled for a 6 o'clock start. It's a few minutes before that, but we have our guest and we didn't want to delay him because he's a very busy man. A lot of coins and papers to count at this time. As today in a press conference, he boasts of excessive surplus in just the first quarter. Can you just imagine with me what the rest of the year would be like? And I don't want to keep him away from counting all that money. You know him very well. He's no stranger to the YouTube platforms. But I'm hoping today, with your help, the fan base, I'll be able to ask him some of the more difficult questions pertaining to some of this wonderful information we are seeing here. His name is Mr. Dennis Chung. So let me invite him. You will not be seeing his face, but his voice is very distinct. So you'll know it is him by the sound of his voice. Mr. Chung, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Good evening.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. How you doing?
I am giving thanks, you know. I am giving thanks. You're making me smile because I know when I hear about surplus in first quarter, I know that there's a great bonus in store for me.
the reason why we have surplus is because we never give you any bonus.
Don't let the people hear that, you know, because then the people fight and be defended me, you know. But first let me commend you. Today you did a press conference and in fact, I think there's an article that says JFF reports Jamaica 137 million surplus for first quarter 2025 achieves positive equity for first time in decades. And this was written by, I think, Leighton Levy. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty of the information, give you an opportunity to speak, and then I'll have some questions for you. So talk to us a little bit about that. What does it mean to have positive equity for those who don't understand those accounting terms? And, 137 million in surplus for the first quarter of the year 2025.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely good for the JFF. I had projected that by the second quarter, which is the quarter we're in, we'd hit a positive equity. It is a good sign for the JFF. We focus a lot on the surplus, but a big part of that, 66 million of that, was because we were able to get a write-off of the tax, of the penalty and interest, which we're working on. Management for over a year. We've been looking at that, getting all our tax liabilities down. But the good news is that JFF has now a positive equity, and it almost has a one-to-one relationship with the current assets and the current liabilities. Last year, the relationship was 0.37. This year is 0.89, right? So we're always at a point where current assets cover current liabilities, and we will see a greater equity in April, but I think we're going to see a slight loss on the operations in April. So the key to it, I mean, management, even in your personal life, you want to build up as much equity as quickly as possible, so that when the busy period comes, when you have to spend, which we see in June, July, we're going to have a lot of expenditure. We expect some revenues to come in then. But based on how I'm approaching it, you see that is really a lot of budgeting and projections that has taken us there. Some people say, well, it is the greater income from the Adidas money. In 2024, we made a higher surplus on a lower income. So it's not just the income levels, which is important, but the fact of the matter is that the staff has done tremendously, particularly the accounting department led by Grace Grant, has done tremendously in terms of ensuring that we budget properly, we stick to budget. We got policies and processes in place, working with FIFA very closely to ensure proper financial governance. So it's a real team effort, and much thanks to them. But 137 million surplus means that we've done some restructuring on the balance sheet, right? In April, we're going to do further restructuring on the balance sheet. That's going to give us a greater equity push. But that's a very good position for JFF to be in. What it means is that, particularly coming on we've had our first clean audit report in over 20 years, where we do not have a going concern qualification, which this sort of cements that position. We've just come off maybe over a month ago of a restricted funding from FIFA. So everything is moving in the right direction. So I don't look at one indicator. I look at how everything is moving together. Our cash flow statement shows that we have a net increase in cash for the first 3 months of this year. Last year was a net decrease. A lot of people, and I'm an accountant, right? And I know a lot of people always focus on the income statement, what we call the profit and loss. But you get more information about a business from your balance sheet and your cash flow statement, which I know a lot of people don't read it because they don't understand it. But when you understand it and read it, you'll see that the JFF is in a much better position. On those two, the income statement does tell you what you have done over the past month. The balance sheet and cash flow statement sort of tells you, is a sort of prediction of what's going to happen when you can read it properly. So that's where we are. I mean, as I said, the 137 million is driven by 66 million in tax write-off. We expect a little more write-off. We basically have no tax liability now. We have a tax compliance certificate in place, for over a year now. That's a significant achievement. Many businesses don't have that, right, in Jamaica. So it is really the effort of the staff. And management, you know the way that Grace has managed that thing. I mean, you feel it sometimes too.
Feeling it now, but
Yeah.
What paragraph here says that this is a very significant achievement, Chung said. Our current ratio, excluding deferred revenue, which is what you said earlier, moved from 0.37 in March to 2020 in March 2024 to 0.89 this year. That means
Right.
we're much closer to full liquidity, where current
Yeah.
assets fully cover current liabilities, which is really saying that if you were to shut down everything right now, you'd end in a positive.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
a
in terms of
positive
the assets and
equity.
liabilities, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, man. In terms of the current liabilities, a positive equity means that you'd end with a $10 million surplus if you shut down everything right now.
Right.
From the point of view of the books, and we're going to increase that even further. So in April, you should see that go up more. So it means that, and that's effectively what it means, man. A positive equity means if I were to shut down everything now, so if you look at your personal life, if you were to sell all the assets, it means that you could cover all of your liabilities and still have some money in your pocket. That's
Yes.
effectively what
That
it
makes
means.
Yeah. All right. The final part, in the final paragraph, it says, looking ahead, both Ricketts and Chung stress the need to maintain discipline. One of the things you must never do is spend future income, Chung said. The platform has
Yeah.
been set for football development. Now it's up to us to build on it wisely, with new sponsorship deals on the horizon and tighter fiscal management in place. The JFF says it is finally in a position to shift more of its focus towards growing the sport both on and off the field. Very good outlook, because I think when you were in finance at the JFF, one of the things that happened is that future monies were spent.
Yeah.
And so when you spend future money and you don't have surpluses, you don't have money. The future, when you get to where that future is, you don't have any money there. So you end up having to borrow to meet your budgetary needs. I mean, so how important is that, like I said, to maintain fiscal discipline, one, and not to be back in a position where you're spending future money. For those people who don't understand future money, it is pulling money that is for like 2026 into 2025 to deal with stuff, right? So maybe you can
Yeah.
explain that for those who are, non-accounting.
Yeah, well, it's a simple way. I mean, it's like if you are working personally and you borrow money, right? You're borrowing money from your future income, your next month's salary. So when you take a salary advance, for example, you spend it now, but you don't earn it yet. You have to pay it back, right? So one of the things that happens with people is that, and countries also, is that they don't accumulate surpluses. So let's look at Jamaica, for example. Previous to Hurricane Beryl, every time we had a hurricane pass through, we had to borrow money from the IMF or World Bank to fix what was happening because we accumulated surpluses, right? And that program started from 2013 because we accumulated surpluses. Then it means that when Hurricane Beryl come, we didn't have to borrow any money from overseas,
Yes.
right? So it means though that what you need to do, and I always say to people when I give them financial advice, when times are good, you must save money, right? Because when times are bad, you can't save it. What people tend to do in their personal lives is when times are good, they spend money. So therefore, when the bad times come, is turmoil, right? And if you practice that, if you save money and invest it when times are good, you'll have a lot more later. So if you think about it, if you save money and invest early, then when you get to your in your 50s, you're cruising. You have investments, right? You can if you decide that, boy, listen, I'm not gonna work for another 6 months and I just gonna cool out a little bit. Or you can start a business, but you have that peace of mind, and that is what we need to develop. Well, in organizations, right? That's the approach you need to take to build equity. But also in the sports organizations in particular, I think that is what's needed. If you look at track and field, for example, track and field really started to do well, when private sector people went into it. And in some reinvestment because of the surpluses that private sector people spend. Before that, track and field wasn't doing so well in an organized manner. You used to have sparks of success, right? And that's what we need to do. We need to create an environment, right, in sports. And I think that we definitely have the capacity and the market for it, where we can do that. One of the things that we are proud that we have done, for example, Manixman, is the streaming of our own content. We own our own content because for the past 4 months, we've been earning money from YouTube. One of the things we realized and one of the things that was happening is that we used to focus a lot on selling the rights for broadcast in Jamaica, right? Just for games, but we weren't streaming content. People want to hear what you have to say, Manningsman, being a part of the team, what the coaches have to say, they want to hear, the president have to say. And we've built content around that. We've been earning money. When we did the game with the local players on Trinidad, the last one, we had 101,000 views in 1 week. The US men national team took 4 weeks to get to 101,000 views. 82% of that was from overseas. So we've been ignoring that market. So it's more than just the budgeting and the fiscal prudence is the commercialization, right? And that is what we need to do. And that's what when you're constantly spending money from the future, you're under pressure. You don't get time to think about those things. And that's how we need to build it out. Because I think that Jamaica football is much more than just Jamaica. You know, most of our support is overseas. And we've never realized that from a commercial point of view, really. You know, so we're doing that. Adidas brought that in. You know, we see that from Adidas because the kit sells off worldwide. You can't go anywhere and get a Jamaica kit because we have such a huge, not just a huge diaspora overseas, but the average income of the diaspora is actually more than the average income in Jamaica. You know, so they have more money to spend.
By far. But you know what is interesting, because I like what you said earlier, the assertion that you made about in good times people normally spend instead of save. So the fact that you've been able to save and make many surpluses, like, because this is the third quarter of surplus that you have had, consecutive quarters of surplus.
Right.
You go back to 2024. All right, not the same amount, but you have had surplus. All right, which means things are going good. And while people are hearing that, there is also word on the streets that you're leaving. So people are saying that, why would you leave when things are good? When you came in when things are bad, now that things are good, why would you be leaving?
Man is bad.
And there's so much money out there now.
Man is bad. I don't even want to go there. So you know that's not what the interview is about.
No, but it is. We must go there because no, when you come out,
what I'll say, I'm not talking about
what the people are saying, because I remember when they came on the scene, the majority of YouTube land would come out against you and say that you're not good for the football. I have heard content creators call you quote unquote 3-card man, and I've heard those same content creators like wanting to put up petition and demonstration in the street, having heard that you're leaving the football, saying that other person should go. So it is very pertinent to the discussion, given all the good things that we have been hearing about in terms of the financial, the governance, the policies of the football in the last 3 quarters and more. Go ahead.
Yeah, but this is what I'll say, Mannix, man. I had indicated from the start that I would not be at JFF beyond my 3-year contract, right? Because I just don't have that desire to be at JFF beyond my 3-year contract. So I had already programmed the fact that, you know, my contract ends in November and I had no intention of going beyond that, right? So that was something that was always in the back of my mind. Now, I never, and I've been at government agencies. The first the first one, for example, Jamaica Ultimate Tire Company Limited. When I went there as a subsidiary at JUTC, I inherited 3 years of unfiled, unaudited financial statements and making $1 million loss per month. Within 2 years, we had got all of that cleaned up and we're making $3 million a month, right? I was reappointed by Omar Davis when he took over from Mike Henry, right? So they had some confidence. I did that and it was sustainable for a little while, right? And they went up to $9 million a month profit. I went to Air Jamaica. I did the divestment there with Dennis Layla. We left over $4 million in the bank at Air Jamaica, right? Because of that management and other things. And most recently, people know about NSWMA, which we cleaned up 9 years of unaudited financials for 5 companies and start winning corporate governance awards. The point is that I do not believe that any individual has any right to any entity, right? And I was at NSWMA for maybe 9 years as chairman. And at that point, I said to them, listen, I don't think that anybody should be at any entity as chairman for that long, right? And therefore, what I do is I put processes and systems in place. So I'm pretty confident in the processes and the systems that are there and the work that can be done with FIFA. Now, can things go bad? Of course, because one of the things I realized, and I did a post this morning, is that there are 3 combinations to leadership. So organizations fail or succeed based on 2 levels of leadership, a board and executive management. If you have a good board or an effective board and effective executive management, then you're talking about financial sustainability. And those are the companies that you'll find in this book by Jim Collins called Built to Last, right? That have lasted over 100 years. If you have a bad board and a good... Yeah, man. If you have a bad board and good executive management, then what you have is short-term financial success and long-term failure. If you have bad executive management and a good board, then you have short-term failure and long-term success. What we need to do by putting in processes in place, right, including, and I must tell you, when you have a public company or a company like JFF that is the public loves, you must have public pressure. You need to have a mix of good executive management and good board, right? Now, I believe that good processes are good, but I never see myself as a panacea, right? I go in and I try to help do certain things and I have certain objectives, right? So if it is that I have to be at a place or anybody has to be at a place, right, for it to succeed, it's a problem, right? And therefore, I think that what we need to do is not focus on any one individual, right? But focus on the organization. And so I always talk about my staff, right? Because my staff, the staff is key.
Excluding management.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about the bad part, I want to talk about the good part, right? But that's what we need to do, because JFF football, it belongs to Jamaicans. And we must understand that even though it is a private company, it is a public company in many respects, more than many public companies, right? Because football belongs to Jamaica, football belongs to Jamaicans, right? And the fact of the matter also is that JFF, like all member associations, is a part of a global football structure coming under FIFA, right? I must always remember that. But, I don't focus on who is there, if I am there or somebody else in there. I really focus on the processes and the systems. And it would be an indictment, right, on anyone after we get to this level where JFF has positive equity, it will be a strong indictment on anyone to reverse that situation. I can tell you that.
But what I'll say is a couple of things, because you made some very salient point. I know that you have mentored a lot of persons. Even Roy Simpson, who you went in, have spoken privately about the kind of mentorship that he has received from you. Maybe not on the footballing side, but like I said, the governance and the policy. He always speaks about these things, right? So now, if I'm to take away anything from what you have just said, is that, listen, you're confident that given your time, the executive arm and the board are not individually centered. Therefore, your departure would not affect anything because the policies and the procedures are in place based on what you have done, that whoever comes into this seat, there should be continued growth and not a regression to former years. Is that what I'm supposed to take
what
from
I'm saying is that the policies and processes are in place and there should not be any regression. No, the fact of the matter is that, at the end of the day, it depends on people. And, I always tell people, one of the things about me, management, I can't, even if I try, I can't tell a lie and I can't do nothing wrong. Not because of what other people gonna say, but my conscience would have killed me. My conscience would have killed me before anybody killed me. Right? And I think that what we need to strive for is to get people like that. So one of the things I always look for first and foremost is the character of persons. I think that within the organization, we have people with that character. I speak about the accounting, for example, led by Grace Grant. Roy is he speaks about that, and I think Roy has that character to know what is the right thing, right? People like Karen Lumsden, right, who are there, even my assistant. So I think that you have that cadre. Now that can change, right? I don't think that any organization or any country remains on top for long, right? Forever. Sorry, not for long, right? But I'm saying that I'm confident that the processes, the policies are in place, right? And you have a set of people who are in place in the executive who can do that, right? As to will it change? Will it change tomorrow or next month? I don't know, but I'm satisfied that we've done enough, that the processes and the systems are in place. No, and that's why I said anyone who is responsible for changing that is a serious indictment on them. And that is how now the public pressure holds people accountable to that, knowing that we are at this point where we have a positive equity for the JFF. We have tax compliance certificate. We have paid off our tax liability, all of those things. We have an unqualified audit opinion. That is a place where if anybody who takes it from there and goes back, then they have a serious blot against them. And that is what we need to focus on holding that accountability in place, that people follow the processes that are in place. And I know FIFA is going to be monitoring very carefully because JFF is the jewel of the Caribbean.
Yeah. So the thing is, you were, quote unquote, let me say, an outsider that came in, right? You believe that within the I mean, you mentioned like Roy Simpson, Grace Grant, Karen Lumsden, I think Tammy says the assistant, and others who are permanent there. Do you believe that within the JFF can look within to plug this big gap that you're going to leave? Or as you were an outsider who came in, they would have to look outside to bring in someone? Or you believe that you have because part of leadership is legacy, you know. Do you believe that your time created the kind of leadership that have left a legacy that there's within the organization someone who can plug that?
Remember, I'm still there, you know.
All right.
You're trying to get out an interview that is not there yet.
All right. All right. So we're not going to go down that road because you're still
Yeah.
there. But the other thing is that when the Jamaica Labour Party came into power, the first time I remember Andrew Holness saying that, listen, Jamaica, we're gonna have to ban our belly. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
implement certain fiscal discipline just to get us back to a place. And then I think the second time around he spoke about prosperity because there was a lot of tightening of the belt, and then that would have impacted people's pocket in the country. In the same way, I mean, you spoke about the policies, the procedures, the fiscal discipline. I mean, how does that feel to the people? Because some of the fiscal discipline would have affected people. And now when if the prime minister come out and says, for example, boy, we are making millions in Jamaica, we are having positive, the first thing people are going to want to ask is that, what about us who were banning our bellies? What can you say to your staff and to your stakeholders who had to be banning belly so that this kind of coming off the IMS, sorry, not the FIFA
Right.
financial
Restricted
restriction
funding.
and restrictive funding,
Yeah.
all of these things. What do you say to them now who have been hanging in there, going through the difficulties to ensure that there is positive equity where the federation is concerned?
All right. Well, what I would say is this, right? We're coming out of the woods, but not because you have a little surplus. It means you're out of the woods. Because, as I always say to people, your objective in your personal life must be that if you're not working for 6 months, you're okay. Right? So we have to build up. I think it is important to build up equity enough so that you can continue. Because it don't make no sense in a management that I come to you and say, boy, management, I make some money, and I'm going to give you some money now. And then you say tomorrow, when there's no money, right? Things dark again, right? And that's exactly what I think was done with this country also, right? When we turned the corner with the 2013 IMF agreement.
Okay.
We built up the equity, and now we're seeing things like very low poverty rates, low inflation, that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing we need to do. So you say, how do you allocate money? If you management were, before you built up that money, you had problems, you're taking the money and giving it away, right? Without value in return. After you get the money, if you do the same thing with it again, what do you think will happen again? You go back to the same place.
Yes, yeah.
So therefore, what you need to do while you're doing all of that is increase the productivity of the people around you, right? So the people, and we've made organizational change in terms of people, right? But certainly, once people are more and more productive, when you're able to, you're going to reward them. If someone is not productive, though, whether it's a person or an institution, you don't want to get back into the habit of rewarding something that's not productive, or else you're going to go back straight to where you were. If you do the same things, right, over again, you can't expect different results. What we want is different results. So, I understand the sentiment, but we have to be careful, because remember, the long-term vision, is development of football, right? You cannot develop football. And development of football, for me, is not that you're taking money and you're just throwing it at something. You have to take money that gives you back value, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do. So for me, development of football, for example, is going out and getting the clubs to go out and be earning on their own independently, right? Get development happening in communities where sponsors want to come in because they see value, right? Where we can sell players overseas and some of that money comes back to us, right? Where we're developing content, where we're getting, because we're developing the brand, we're getting more and more money coming in, right? So we have to be careful, right, that we don't go back to where we were. So therefore, what it means, is that some people who don't move with productivity, just like we see in the country, you don't expect, as I always say to people, if an economy is growing at 100% per year, and in order to grow, it needs 100 engineers. If you're not an engineer, you're not going to share in that, So while we're doing that, we have to make sure that we're also aligning people. So if you look, for example, at what's happening with the coaching program, people who are coaches will deliver value. So therefore, if you are someone who develop yourself to a B or a license coach, when the new dispensation come, you will be making more money than the person who never do anything at all,
Okay, so when equity is good, you also want to improve productivity.
Right.
Meaning,
Right.
all right. So no, because this is a very hard balance. For example, like I've heard, and this is just on the street. So, and I kind of figure that when I go back out on the street, I'm going to hear it in different circles that the parishes are suffering because they are not getting any funding. But yet the MA speaks of its surpluses while we are suffering. So now I am understanding why a possible cause of that. If there is no productivity, if the product in the parish itself is not marketable, why would more money be given?
Well, anybody, I mean, money will be given to of course, make sure you maintain, right? But the fact of the matter is that when you get money, you need to multiply that money, right? So I know there will be a certain amount that is given, but the parish that is more productive will always come out with much more money, right?
Okay,
And not just use it right. You understand what I'm saying? And that the natural thing is that once you are more productive, you will generate more activity. And once you generate more activity, you generate more external revenue coming in. You are going to always do better, right? And
this is a critical thing you're saying, because when you take it to the broader scale of the country, sorry to cut it, but you take it to the country, really what you're saying is that it is the people who are making progress that will benefit from the progress of the country. All right. Even if everybody's running their belly, if you're not progressing, you're not going to be benefiting when there is surplus. It's just the people who are progressing. So I mean, many will say it is unfair because they're going to say, well, the wealthy are going to get wealthier and the poor are going to get poorer. But that's not the case. It may look like the design, but the truth is, if you're making progress, then when there is progression, you will greatly benefit. So what are you doing in your space to increase your productivity so that you can benefit from the surplus, even if it is in terms of the marketability of your product in your space?
And that's essentially what it is. That's essentially what it is. Because even if let us say even if so as countries and organizations improve, you naturally can give more to everybody. But the man who is going to benefit much more is the man who takes that amount that you give and multiplies it, and that's productivity, right? So I mean, we've all even with all of that's going on, we've already started to look at how we can compensate people internally, for example, right? Because for a long time, people weren't being compensated properly. So we've started that, right? But it has to be done in such a manner that it is sustainable. As I said, management, I don't want to, I mean, you go home to your wife today, management, and say, boy, honey, I'm buying you this 5-course meal tonight, and we're going to live lavishly. And you say for the next week, pure sardine. You understand?
Yes. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. So we have to be careful. And it takes a certain mindset to understand that, right? And I am coming from an accounting background, and this is what I've been doing all my life. So I know, right? And this is how I live my life today, right? I am not going to go out there and live lavishly, right? And then suffer later. I prefer suffer now and then live big later.
Yeah.
And that's how we should all aspire to be.
Yeah. I see Elite Sport Ryan LFC saying that don't let saying great job, Mr. Chung. So when you know that when Elite Sport is telling you that you're doing a great job, even if management faking it, Elite Sports not faking it. That is that is the man who came with the famous term, the 3-card man. So when he says that, that it is, but there is a sentiment though where many people are saying that, listen, this is not the right time for you to not be a part of the football, given how they have, gotten close to you and been able to hear all the financial stuff and thing. So let's see. Let's hope you'll be there until the end of your contract. Jason, Guna TV says, what have you found as the best way to build equity for the JFF?
The best way to build equity for the JFF is to increase your sources of income. And which is why we went into the streaming business and owning our own content, right? And also building out the brand so that sponsors, more and more sponsors will be attracted. And we have more sponsors to announce, right? But that is the best way to build equity. The best way to build equity is not by what people are used to, that, boy, you get a donation here and donation there. No. That's not it. You want earnings. You want to independently be able to earn your money. As I said to people, the greatest source of income for you is the one you're making when you're sleeping. You understand?
When your money is working for you.
Yeah, when your money works, and that is what you need to do. Continue building the income lines for JFF. There are some other things that are coming on stream, that will help to bring even further income.
One of the things I want to charge you to do, Mr. Chung, is before November, which is when your contract expired, and you had already agreed to 3 years, which ends in November. So we expect to see you until November. Are you able to negotiate any sort of new deal before you go? I don't know if with Adidas, so that the federation can now be like almost distributors locally of the jerseys.
Management, and not what we are looking at everything. But just trust me when I say,
keep on quarreling so they can't get the jersey still.
Management, we are going to address that situation, but we're looking at everything. Trust me. I'm in dialogue with the president. One of the things I must give credit to the president, when the president was the man who said to me, because when I left where I was going to go ride bicycle for 3 months, right, all over. And the president said to me, no, you have to come. And he kept at me himself and Bruce again, right? He knows where he wants to go. He has a vision, right? And I'm discussing certain things with him now, right? In terms of what we need to develop, in terms of revenue lines. So we're looking at that because we need to make the JFF sustainable. I mean, and people say one of the things I want to say, management. People say, boy, the JFF is looking up, but the other organizations around it is not. It's the same thing the member associations could say about FIFA, But if FIFA did not get strong, the member associations would not have had any benefit. Is when FIFA put themselves in a very strong position that they say, okay, guys, we want to work with you and give you more things, right? But we have to get there. We were coming from a very dark place in terms of JFF. Very, very dark place. I can tell you, management, in November 22, when I went there, the finances were terrible, right? It was a lot of pressure. Nobody wanted to give us credit, right?
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have a problem with that. So we have to develop that. And I mean, management, I mean, if even in your personal life, you have to have something put down. That's the only way for independence, and we need to get there so we can really carry out the mandate of development of football.
So MF keep on asking this. He says that, listen, you're not there. How you normally are very accountable, you transparent. People can expect that you're going to be on social media speaking about what is happening financially. The financial statements are out and thing. What are some of the policies and procedures that people can say, okay, these were things that were implemented during Mr. Dennis Chung's time, like the public to hold whomever else is there accountable to those things? Is there, is that available on the website so they can look at
Well, one of the things we can do, and I mean, MF is correct. We really should put our policies and procedures on our website, and I'll ensure that is done. We do put our financials there, and we should do that. But we've done things like we just fit. The reason why we're coming out so late to the March financials because we're upgrading our accounting system. So we put new technology in place, which is a lot more efficient. We have a travel policy in place. We have a procurement policy in place. We have purchase order systems in place. So, in the same way that people, the systems that government has, for example, are the same ones that we have, right? I mean, the oversight for me, right, the Integrity Commission of the JFF is YouTube. Right? That's Integrity Commission,
You said Ryan LFC and Cranky Live, Integrity Commission.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you something. I don't have no problem, and you know me, man. When times good or bad, I will come on and talk. I don't have a problem with people criticizing. I have a problem with people disrespect. Right? I love criticism because if everybody, I always say to people, if everybody agreed, the wheel would still be square,
Yeah.
You understand? We have to have disagreement, but it must be done respectfully. And that's what I always say. Just respect people while you're criticizing.
You have made yourself available. But you know that there are people though who believe that you're not leaving on your own accord.
No, I want to dispel that. I mean, I have said from the start that I would not be going beyond the 3 years. From the start, I have said that.
Okay.
You understand?
But this is a good outlook, and I think for me it's always important because I lead an organization that close to 500 people, and when you begin to talk about your surpluses, the first thing people begin to look at, but how comes I haven't gotten this? How comes I could not? Because there is this notion that if you're having surplus, that money somehow needs to go back into everything that needs to be done, which would erase all your surplus.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just want to find out from you, how are you going? How do you communicate all of this to people? Because you have, like I said, you spoke about your accounts department. You spoke about the different teams and stuff. Roy Simpson, and there are so many departments. You have your parish affiliates and stuff. You have clubs. How do you help them to understand that, listen, yes, there are surpluses. Yes, we have 3/4 of surpluses, but this surplus does not mean that all of it needs to go back into the parish, go back into increased salaries, go back into putting in more perks that used to be because we had cut them out and things. How do you keep that balance and deal with the pressure? Because it's real. Government face it. And almost in every organization, executive face that pressure that you're going. The people at the banks, every time the banks projections show that they're making billions, the staff go on strike because they're saying, we haven't gotten any increase. How are you able to navigate that space?
Well, what you need to do, and I can speak specifically to my staff, is that you have to constantly communicate and let them be a part of the process so they can see it. When people are a part of the process and they're seeing it, and you're going to have some people, who don't understand, and the reason why they don't understand is because they don't care, right? And when those people come up, you have to call them out, right? Because you have some people genuinely don't care, right? And me, man, I don't cater to them thing there, right? Because I've been living with pressure all of my life, right? But I am driven by the fact that I've been raised by parents to do the right thing all the time. No matter what the consequences, I need to do the right thing because I must know that when I lay down in my bed, I can sleep and I don't have insomnia. Right? I have to do the right thing. I could not, I tell people all the while, I could not, right, steal or anything. I can't do it, irrespective of how much I suffer. I remember when I was on the betting game in Lotteries Commission, Gordon Robinson was the chairman, right? Mike Surridge, who was the first head of the RPD, was on the board. And Gordon Robinson said something very, very instrumental. This is about 1997, right? So, a long time I've been doing this thing. He said, before we do anything wrong, we will go back to eating bun and cheese for the rest of our lives. And I live by that because I believe that if I do anything wrong, then that is my legacy that I leave to my children. And that for me is more important than somebody giving me $100,000 or $100 million. Right? And therefore, I have to try and communicate that, not just by how I talk, but how I act around people. And there are some people that tell you, we'll never get it because they don't have those morals.
Yeah.
Right? They will always be looking, and you know that management feel that you're in. You have some people just bankrupt off that. Right? But the people who will want to go with you, you surround yourself with those people and you move with them.
You move it. Very important because as I think about it, because sometimes people are driven by policy, which is very good policy, but there's also people, and it is striking that balance in terms of personal relationships and policy. How do you? I was speaking to Garol Hamilton, and he was saying that it's not a matter of balance, it's integration. Because balance is like you're trying to make both things work. Is how do you integrate them and make them work together? How do you impose or implement all of these policies and procedures and still maintain relationship with all your stakeholders? Or is it a risk that you take and say, listen, at the end of the day, I'm going to be hated, but I'm going to go policy?
No, well, management, I always believe that this is more important to be respected than to be liked. If I want to be liked, I go home to my family and my dogs. Right? That's where I'm liked, right? But I give you one thing. There's a song that I live by. You know, Kenny Rogers, right? The gambler. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them,
Do you bet?
know when to walk away.
You used to work at the betting place. You know the betting song. Are you a betting man?
I was a commission at the betting game in Lotteries Commission.
Go ahead. Yeah, talking about the song. Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that is very important. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down that gambler that Kenny Rogers spoke about. He understood all of that because of experience. And I told you about all the things that I've done. And I think my experience has taught me that you have to know when to play certain cards, right? My experience and training, right? And that's how I deal with people, right? When I can deal with someone who, the most important thing to me about anybody is character. Right? If you don't have good character, me and you not gonna deal at all. Because character is the most important thing to me. And once someone has that, I think that you can work with them. Right? And I never try and force my opinion on someone. I try to let them understand what I'm saying. And that's what I've tried to do. Right? I think that people, and but I'm not going to break any rules. I can't tell you that, right? Because as I said, my conscience will kill me, right? And that's the thing that prevents me from doing that, right? Not any laws or anything. I just know that there are certain things. I grew up in the church, right? And I know certain things just wrong,
yeah,
right? So that's what guides me, right? Not anything else, right? And I try to work with that. I try to work with people like that. And I must say that, we have some very good people from a character point of view at JFF, and that is what has helped us, you know. Although you don't invite him to church at Manning's man, you're afraid I take it over.
Anytime, man. But I mean, many of your staff have been there, and I know they have given you some glowing reviews and things, Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why you have not been there yet, but many of your staff have been there.
Yeah,
But
we'll make it soon, man. We'll make it soon.
yeah, but I know, like I said, that this is not just you alone. Just the entire,
Yeah.
I guess, persons from the board would have to have been there to support you. In terms of some of these policies and changes and procedures, you have
Mhm.
staff who have to stand there with you, from your account department to managers in different departments, and you have mentioned some of them, and I appreciate that you didn't say, boy, it was me, or it is yeah, it is Mr. Chung who did all of this, but it is the staff, it is the entire grouping of people who stood there with you. I know, like you mentioned, Grace Grant, but there are others in the accounts department as well, who have been there to offer support, and that is important. Again, for many of us, is that the football is there's a lot of positive. The marketability of the football, not just now in Jamaica, but outside of Jamaica, is at a better place than it was. You don't hear a lot of stuff about um misappropriation of funds, and you don't hear those things again, which come right before your time. There was a lot of issues, players players strike, and outbursts in negotiations, and all of those things have been at best minimal, right? And that is good. That speaks to the overall work that you have done along with your team as a GenSec, because uh, I was with some CONCACAF people recently, and they say that the most important position in the MAs is the position of the GenSec, because they are the CEO. And I found it strange, because in the room were two MA presidents from the Caribbean, and they agreed, that
Yeah.
the general secretary really takes on the administrative arm, in particular, of the entire organization.
Yeah, no, that's true. The general secretary is probably the pivotal role. But yeah, I always have a problem of thinking myself as the most important person. I just give credit to my staff all the while. You know, I just come and I do what I'm supposed to do and I leave. I think I always say to people, respect is due to everyone. Everyone in an organization is due respect and has a role to play, right? Because I can be sitting there making decisions, and the lady who cleaned the offices don't serve the tea properly, and it throw me off, right? Or the person who's supposed to do maintenance at the Horace Burrell Center, them not doing it properly and create a bad image for the company. So I just think of myself as one person in a cog, right? I'm just a cog, sorry, in a wheel, right,
Yeah.
with many other cogs that make the thing work. And I don't believe in this thing where any one person. I mean, one person is in charge of everything. You have different responsibilities. But if I never have a good accounting team, I'd have a problem. If I
Yeah.
never have Grace there, if I never have Roy there, I'd have a problem. If I never have Marvin and Karen there, I'd have a problem. If I never have Ian in competitions, there'll be a problem. So I don't think of myself as anything special,
Me like
right?
you know mention man, me like you know mention Manning's man still,
Well, I always mention Valley Manning's man. No, but seriously, I mean, you also Manning's man with the team. We've had many interactions, Simon, you know. You guys have done a great job, and it's everybody coming together and doing their piece. I mean, if one person don't put in the piece of the puzzle that they have, the puzzle will never be complete, Even if it's one piece, I might have 10 pieces and I have one piece, But you better be sure that that one piece means as much to completing the puzzle as the 10 pieces.
Yeah.
You know?
What will be your legacy? There's a Captain Horace Burrell Center that is built in honor of Captain Horace Burrell. What is it that when you leave, every time people talk about Dennis Chung and the Jamaica Football Federation, this is the thing that they must remember. This is the
I never give that any thought in my man. All I do is try and make sure to have some money to fund you guys.
No, it isn't built to last, We read the same book. Dr. Henry Cloud talked about it, about legacy. I mean, what will be the legacy? Because you'd have gone in, like you said, because everybody start with the end in mind. What end did you have in mind when you took up this? Like, just like how you went to what was it? Solid Waste? Here, Jamaica. There was an end you had in mind to move them from this position and set them here. And
my goal in terms of JFF was what the president asked me to do, to bring financial stability.
Okay.
That was a discussion I had with him in October 2022.
Okay.
Him say, I need to get this thing financially stable and to bring back the brand. Those are the two main objectives that he spoke to me about.
Yeah, man, very good. I would say, like, even though sometimes we have had some, disagreement, you understand me, in terms of policy and what's up, especially when it comes down to financial stuff. I think you have added great value to the federation. In my time, I can't speak of when I was not there, but I think we kind of came on almost the same time in terms of the GenSec and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it has not been easy, but it has produced good fruit, and the whole thing is at a better place. And whatever it is, I'm glad to see, like, it's not many companies. I don't know if there's any sporting body that can say they have had 3 successive quarters of positive growth or surpluses to this amount. I don't know if cricket can say that. I don't know if track and field can say that. I don't know. So the fact that football is at this place, it's a big deal. All right. Big deal.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, for me, I just wanted to achieve the objectives of the financial stability. I'm happy for what has happened, particularly with the staff, because as when I went to NSWMA and JFF, I said to them, listen, guys, if you perform well, you're not only increasing the brand of the JFF, but you're increasing your own personal brand. And I think there are some people in there that are really very strong and can work anywhere, and that's what I'm happy for.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hello, caller. All right, hold on. I need hold on there. I need to get back this caller. I have a caller here who wants to see if I can get him on. I have to let you talk to this person, because if this person wants to speak to you, you really want to hear. I'm telling you that. So let me call him back.
That sounds like the president of the United States.
I will tell. You know that big step. you know that big step. You know that big step. Big. We're gonna talk about some tariffs right now. Yeah. Or see where the new jet is. See if we can get one of the new jets. Them. Let me just see if I can get them back quickly. But we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna release you, because I have some of my friends from Alicop. So let me see if I can get. Oh, there we go. Yes, I'm going to take a couple of calls, and then we have Scholar from Alicop. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. This is the man from the president's office over there in Canada.
Good evening, Mannings man. Good evening to your viewers. Good evening to Mr. Dennis Chung.
Yeah, man.
You know the voice, Mr. Chung?
First,
No, I'm not picking up the voice.
What? Go ahead, talk all and then we pick up the voice.
first and foremost, before I get into the discussion, I want to publicly apologize to Mr. Dennis Chung. So I just want to get that out of
Who that, Ryan?
Yeah, well, all right.
Yes, this is Ryan.
Yeah, man, where's Ryan?
Definitely 100% Mr. Dennis Chung. I apologize for the name and stuff. I don't want to elaborate on it, but I want to big man apologize to you, okay?
Yeah, man, respect.
First and foremost, ever one of the greatest coach in the world said this in our press conference about 8 years ago, and that come back to my brain by listening to you speaking and all of the good work that you're doing for the Federation. I must say, I appreciate it, Mr. Dennis Chung. And the quote goes like this. You ready? Are you listening?
Yeah, man, we listen.
Yeah, man, I listen.
Okay, the quote goes like this. When you just come, when you came into a football club or administration, don't listen to what the people said about you when you just came in. When you leave, that's what really matters about what people think about your perspective, your work that you do for the football club. So, I'm saying, Mr. Dennis Chung, from ever since, you know, we have way ups and downs and all of these stuff on YouTube, but I have no personal vendetta against you. I just want to see the administration to do well and to see what he has accomplished in these 3 years. We really do appreciate it. And even you're leaving now, I am worried. You know what I mean? But listening to you saying you put things in place, you have the right people in place, I'm happy to hear that because we want to see better in Jamaican football. And we see it off the pitch. From me coming into the administration, 18 sponsorship, so much thing you have done in a short period of time that a lot of people that you imagine. You understand? The captain of Roseberry. One thing we have to say about you, Mr. Chung, you never have an ego. You listen. Sometimes it not work and sometimes you get it. You understand? But you're listening and you listen to the people, you hear the cry of the people. And I remember the first time speaking to you on YouTube, you know, you grabbed my attention. I was supporting you and still supporting you. That's all I want to say. Wish you all the best in your journey, and I have nothing but love and respect, and I like the progress of the Jamaican Football Federation. Salute, my brother. Appreciate it. We appreciate that fun. Finally, me thing. Me I worry say you gone now. Me I worry. You understand? I'm worried because for the job we're doing, my brother. We need more people like you, and I know you add some good people to your staff and stuff, and I hope them can continue the legacy of Dennis Chung, the Jensen. That's all I have to say to you, my brother. Nothing but love and respect.
Yeah, man, respect, Ryan. Thanks.
Well said. And next time, don't come with no Jurgen Klopp quote in a boss.
I just watch your word, man. Him say it, man. It's not about what people think about you when you just come in. It's about what they think about you when you leave it.
All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that quote stick with me. You know what I mean? So big up, man. No love and respect, and big up to everybody in the comment section.
Yeah,
One Dennis Chung.
Yeah, man, respect.
All right, Mr. Chung, I know you have to leave by 7, you know, because I know you wanted to do
this.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So appreciate it. Big up. Thanks again for coming on. And to all of the people, I'll give you a time, I know, you know, because I don't know how or when again them go hear from you, you know. So talk to all of the fans because you have many supporters. When you came in, you had many criticizers. Now you have many supporters. So just talk to all of the Chungites out here now.
Well, I don't know why you're setting up like Jim Jones, you know. No, man. I mean, I listen. I appreciate people even when they criticize me. I appreciate people even more when they criticize me, because the only way for you to progress is to hear about the bad things. It's like a SWOT analysis. If you keep focusing on your strengths, right, which is the moral of the emperor's new clothes, you will never get better. You only get better when you focus on your weaknesses. So I appreciate the criticism. I mean, and as I always say, from the start, man, when people say to me, boy, how you go on and take so much criticism? Let me tell you something. If your wife, man, come home every night and cuss you, it means she care. You see, anytime she stop, she said she don't say nothing at all, that's when you have a problem. You understand? So I will take the cussing because I know so once the cussing going on, them still care.
But I
When the
don't know
cussing
about
stop.
that, but you be that studio. Man is money right the one they don't. So if your wife come home every evening and cuss you. Yeah, that's not
It's so like you get enough cussing every day in the morning. So.
I'm gonna go find out. I'm gonna sit down and analyze this one. US Bridget need to do a SWOT analysis on that quote. There you go, Bridget. So like domestic abuse to me. Mr. Chung says he care the person care. I don't know about that. But yeah, but thanks again.
Yeah, man, no
And
problem.
it's so good having you on. Well said. All
Yeah,
right.
man. All right, guys. Cool.
All right, then.
Yeah, man.
All right, so there you go, people. That was Mr. Dennis Chung. And then we have who is going to join us now is Oral Hillary. They call him Scholar. He's from Excelsior High School, and you know the Ali Cup as they do this competition at Excelsior, including many other schools, in celebration or in memory of Ali Cole, son of Alan Skill Cole, who passed away. And they do this, I think his birthday was on the 1st of May. They also normally have Deli Ranks. Deli Ranks is a Jamaican artist who normally does their jingles. He was in an accident in Atlanta recently, and I want to take this opportunity to wish him all the best in his personal recovery. And so this is just the beginning of the process of talking about the Ali Cup, and I think the chairman here with me today who's going to, just talk to you a little bit about it, so you can, when you hear it next week and the following week, you'll remember that this is Ali Cup time, so get ready. Again, big thank you to Mr. Dennis Chung for coming on. He had a tight schedule and he just decided to give us an hour, and I think we maximized the hour. If you feel like something was left out in terms of questions, you can just send that to me, and then I can get it answered, and let you know. All right. So, Mr. Oral Hillary, talk to us. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mannings, and good evening to the listeners. I want to thank you for this opportunity on behalf of the entire Green and Yellow organization, especially the CEO, Mr. Carlton Amman. As you mentioned previously to the listeners, the Ali Cup is a tournament put together by Mr. Amman to memorialize the achievements and the legacy of Alan Cole Jr., a former Excelsiorian who has played a great deal for the football at Excelsior. And so, in memorializing his achievements, we always try to take the opportunity during this time period in the month of May to acknowledge what is it that we have been doing on behalf of Mr. Cole. So, we're here tonight to remind the listeners and all the Ali Cup participants who have participated in the past, who are thinking about participating, that the Ali Cup is really an occasion to showcase the legacy laid by Mr. Alan Skill Cole Jr. Ali attended Excelsior in 1983 and graduated in 1989. He was one of few players who has been fortunate to participate at every level, starting with Pepsi, through Coles, and then obviously Manning Cup. And not only playing Manning Cup, but as every player who have participated in Manning Cup, their dream and their desire is to lift that trophy. And Mr. Cole was very fortunate in doing that for us in 1989. So we just want to let the people know that the 2025 Ali Cup tournament is on and it's scheduled for this August 13th through the 16th, beginning with our press conference as always on the 13th at Excelsior, 137 Mountain View Avenue, to follow the Thursday, August 14, with the DeCosta Cup teams. Similar to last year, we will be hosting 10 teams in the DeCosta Cup bracket. And on Friday, August the 15th, we'll have the 10 Manning Cup teams, similar to last year. And then on Saturday, we'll encapsulate the entire tournament with the Oliver Shield style farm up leading up to the Ali Cup final game. Saturday, August 16th. So mark your calendar, folks. August the 13th through August 16th, 2025 will be another big time for all Excelsorian coming out to support and memorialize the achievements of Mr. Cole. So we're looking forward to it, Brother Mannings.
Yeah, man. So it will be 20 teams this year, August 13th to 16th, 4 days, but just 3 days of football, the 14th, the 15th, and the grand finale on the 16th on the grounds of Excelsior High School.
Yeah, that is correct, Brother Mannings. That is correct.
Okay. I know last year the DaCosta Cup was played. The DaCosta Cup team played out of town, I think
last year they actually played at Excelsior last year.
The DaCosta Cup team?
Yes.
Right, the year before they played at St. Elizabeth Technical, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct.
So this year, everything is in Kingston again, or how is it this year? How is the format this year in terms of location? Is there out of town, or everything will be done in Kingston this year?
Well, at this particular moment, we're trying to maintain consistency and doing it again at Excelsior, where we have the Costa Cup teams who go on Thursday, the Manning Cup teams on Friday.
And the final on the Saturday.
On the Saturday.
Final.
Yes.
And what he means by the Oliver Shield final is that you'll always have a DaCosta Cup team meeting a Manning Cup team in the final.
That is correct.
Right. So you would have basically a DaCosta Cup champion, a Manning Cup champion, and both of them meet in the final. Are all your teams repeating this year? Are you're looking at having new teams? How is that process going of getting teams involved in the competition? I know you have always invited teams, getting new teams and stuff. How is it? How is that aspect of the planning? We are in May now. Teams are preparing.
Yes, that is certainly true. And we are looking, as always, to welcome in some new candidates, some new participants. We are hoping to have at least Hillel High School this year as a new participant to both the Ali Cup and the Manning Cup platform. We're also looking to have some repeaters, last year's champions, Excelsior High School. Most disciplined teams also will be coming back. But we have now spread the opportunity to have any coach from both the DaCosta Cup side and the Manning Cup side who has an interest in participating to reach out to us and let that be known, as we are trying to do it on a first come, first serve basis. And as the CEO will always says, he has his bench that he will put the additional teams on should something goes awry with one of the first 10 within the groups. We have established our website for this year. It's alicuptournament.com, where teams and individuals who are interested in seeing the history of the tournament since 2018 until now could get information there. And we're hoping to continue to build on that website. Also, for coaches,
what is the website?
the website is called the alicuptournament.com. That's the address for the website.
alicuptournament.com.
Tournament.com.
And they go there, that is where they can go and be able to be a part of the competition. From that website, they can actually register or request to be in the competition.
Well, from that website, they could get our email address.
Contact information. Okay.
Yes, we are requesting that any coach, any school, any principal who is interested to just send an email to our website. And our website is alicuptournament137@gmail.com.
Alicup, let me just give them that. Alicup Tournament
137@gmail.com.
Tournament 137@gmail.com. So if there's a coach here who has a team that they would like to participate in the Alicup, all they have to do is to reach out via email to alicuptournament137@gmail.com.
Yeah. Brother Manzi, could you just do me a favor? And I think there's a typo in the spelling there.
Yeah, typo. Yeah, I see it. The tournament spelling. Don't worry, we can fix that.
No, yeah. Well, all the words, all the letters are there.
Alicup, Tournament, tournament. Yeah, there you go. All right. 137. You have good eyes, man. gmail.com. There you go. You have good eyes. Better than mine. And you don't wear glasses. Maybe you have a contact lens, I don't know.
It's a possibility, right?
Tournament 137. There you go.
Yes. So, just want to get the word out there as we are continuing to work diligently. I must say the CEO, as we know, has been relentless. His phrase, bigger and better, as he has stated a few years back. So he continues to put the work in behind the scene to continue to meet that goal that he has set for himself.
Yes.
The organization, yes.
And then persons who want to attach them, let me just, somebody saying I should remove the wrong one. So let me just get off the wrong one. Let somebody go there and go. Yeah. Right. So persons who want to say there's someone who want to attach their brand to Alicup, this is the same email address they would also reach out to.
That is correct.
Okay. And this is how many years of Alicup this will be? This is what year you celebrated this year?
Well, this
since the beginning of the
2018, and we missed 2 years because of the COVID-19.
Okay. So that's 5 years. This would be year number 5?
This would be year number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Yeah. Minus the 2 years of the COVID.
Minus the 2 years. That sounds good. Last year again, Excelsior were the champions. Who were the best disciplined team?
The best disciplined team last year went to would you believe it? Let me say Homewood was the best disciplined team last year.
So I cannot sure. No, we don't want to.
No. There's a lot of teams running through the thing, so I want to make sure I get the right one for the right year. So we have Homewood was the best disciplined team last year, but we had a really good tournament last year. Yeah, where we have incident free. As always, that's the CEO's objective, where everybody comes and have a good time. Coaches come and get to showcase their
Yeah.
They're
And you
planning
also,
for the upcoming
have,
season.
you normally play a football game as well. Think last year you had an Excelsior team playing against
St. George's College.
St. George's College team. Who won that game?
That was a tight game, you know. That was a tight game.
Okay.
I think that game is one of those games that both teams have been talking about for the past few months. And if the opportunity presents itself and everybody's available, I think they would put it out there again to play. You know, so it was a great Masters game between St. George's Old Boys and Excelsior Old Boys.
Okay. And so is there a rematch or it is something different? Because you normally have one of those games.
Yes. Unfortunately, we'd really like to do a rematch. But if everything works out accordingly, we're hoping to host KC Old Boys this year, especially since they lifted the trophy last year on the Manning Cup side.
KC won on the Manning Cup side?
No, the KC Old Boys. We're hoping to have the KC Old Boys against the Excelsior Old Boys this year.
Okay. All right, because you're saying that KC won Manning Cup last year.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What has been the fee so far in terms of people wanting to participate?
No, well, based on how the CEO has structured this tournament and what he has provided for each participant and how it has helped their programs, every school who has heard about the Ali Cup tournament has showcased their interest in participating. And so now that we have opened up the application process and starting to get the information out there, we are really anticipating to be inundated. And that's why we says first come, first serve. Because we know there's a lot of people out there waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Listen, there's a little time in terms of the competition, so we need to do a lot more. I know last year we had the draw, which we want to do again live on air so people can see the draw once you have the teams and stuff. And things. So I know we're going to do a series of these interviews and stuff so people can just know what is happening where the Ali Cup is. And this is endorsed by management because I think it's a good thing, all the stuff that you give back to the schools that participate. And I think sometimes what would be good, some of these schools need to give some testimonies of just how good it was that they participated, to have participated in a pre-season competition where everything that they need is provided for them by the organizers of the competition. And I think that's a big deal. Like I said, that Manning Cup, the Costa Cup are in preparation stage right now for the new season. And I want to encourage you guys to continue to do the work that you're doing as we continue to support and endorse this competition in honor of one of the past students of the school, Ali Cole Jr., son of one of Jamaica's legendary footballer. Yes, so I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk to the people or say to the people, to the coaches, to the schools out there about, getting themselves ready and registered for the competition. Big up Mr. Wayne Thompson, who has joined the stream.
Great. Well, what I would like to share with the audience is the fact that, to continue to make this thing possible and become eventually self-sufficient, we will have another annual raffle. We'll be getting our tickets out starting next month, where the first prize for a raffle this year will be a laptop. Our second prize will be a flat screen TV, and our third prize
what inch TV, man? Because we don't want a small flat screen. We don't want a 14-inch flat screen.
No. Last year we gave away a 43-inch screen TV, and we're hoping to do just about the same or better. And then our third prize will be a standing fan. At the moment, our tickets are being sold for $1,000 Jamaican dollars and $10 US. You know, as we mentioned, raffle and working on becoming self-sustainable, we have to reach out to those who have been with us and continue to join us on this journey. And so for our flagship sponsors, such as Sam Isaacs and Son, Western Sports, Complete Shipping, we want to thank those guys for their continued support that they have provided us in the past and will continue to do in the future. Also, we want to give a big shout out to Sportsmax, as they have also played an intricate role in allowing us to share what is it we do here with the audience back at home. So we want to thank all those guys for their continued support and partnership with us over the years, and hopefully we'll continue to grow with these relationships going forward.
All right, so the raffle tickets are out. The draw is coming up. What date is the draw?
The draw would be at the halftime of the championship game on Saturday. Right. Yes.
On the Saturday, yes. And how do people purchase? Where do people go to purchase the tickets?
Well, we will have the information up on the website, and we'll be having various members. So anybody who's interested, they could just send an email, and we'll respond to them via email and get in touch with them.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Sir Scholar, listen, man. Thank you. We're going to talk again next week, because we're going to keep this on the front burner.
Most definitely.
Right?
Most definitely.
So that it can be in the people's ear, because it's a good thing that is happening where the preseason competitions are concerned. I want to thank you so much for taking the time off, and I see your Alicop shirt, I see your Excel, see your hat. You understand me? I see what's going on over there. The CEO is not here today, but I'm hoping that next time around he can be here to be a part of the discussion as we have a more extensive look at the competition. Looking forward to the day when we also do the draw in terms of the zoning and the pairings of teams and all of that for the competition. But big thank you for coming on, and all the best in this year's tournament. I am telling you, summers are tough for me, and I am not going to make any promise that I'm going to be there, because every year I promise and I'm yet to turn up, and I know that many people are not happy with me. But, you know, pray for me as I pray for you, they would say.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will not allow you to make a promise this year, and then maybe this year will be the year that it manifests. All right. But again, Brother Mannings, thank you for having us on. We look forward to the upcoming shows and sharing the more intricate details as we finalize the teams and the brackets for the 2025 Ali Cup tournament. So again, on behalf of the entire Green and Yellow organization, especially the CEO, Mr. Carlton Aman, we want to thank you for having us on.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So there you go, people. Our discussion with Owen, Scholar, Hillary, Ali Cup. Big thing coming up. You'll be hearing more from them. We'll have them on, at least twice a month till the start of the competition to discuss stuff where the Ali Cup is concerned. I want to thank them so much. And listen, schools, if you're out there, if you're a past student, tell your school to get involved in this. You understand me? The Calabar men here, when any school over your side, over the St. Thomas side, it don't matter where they are from, they can get involved in it. They're preparing for that Costa Cup, very good competition to play in. The email address is on the screen. All they have to do is to email a desire to be there, and they will be in it. They're planning a big game on the day, the old boys of Kingston College versus the old boys of St. George's College, of Excelsior, on the day. So something else to look forward to. Also want to say a big thank you to Mr. Dennis Chung for coming on and spending some time with us. I want to thank all of our viewers and subscribers for being a part of the show. Thanks to all the persons who like the video, who share the video. Thanks to all the persons who subscribe for the first time to the platform. Really appreciate it. And you have for yourself a wonderful wonderful rest of the evening. Tomorrow is Labor Day in Jamaica, right? Different from the Labor Day in the States. It's a Labor Day when we get ourselves involved in social activities to uplift our communities. I will be out early doing some of that, and if in the latter part of the day I am up to it, I will certainly come on and present you with the JPL information that is in the thumbnail. I am management. This has been I Am Sure Sports. And as usual, when it gets to the end of the program, we say we are over and we are out of here.
Yo, watch about dog, SK New Erdis, the body out there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Orchard Race, Galtigo Bay, everywhere. I Am Sure Sports, check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like, ha. Yeah, someone on for the food from we young, from we day, you need height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.